I am obsessed with this little gadget that I got off of TikTok. It's got this cool microphone on it. It's a voice changer. I probably won't use a lot of these little things, maybe some of the songs that they have on there, but just to give you an idea of what I'm playing with.
I could sound like a dude. No thanks.
I could sound like a chipmunk. No, or I guess this is a child's voice. No, no. Moving on. This is the female voice, which I guess sounds okay, but I think I like my voice better.
I can sound like a monster. That sounded diabolical. Or a robot, very Terminator vibes.
But I think I'll just stick to my own voice. Welcome back to Spilling Tea. Thank you for letting me amuse not only myself, but I hope I amuse you too, just to kind of keep this a little lighthearted. Because today we're talking about something that sounds simple, but changes everything once you really understand it. My good friend called clarity. Not the kind that you have to ask for 3 times, not the kind that you hope shows up eventually, but the kind that is given to you when someone is actually choosing you. Because here's the truth. When someone chooses you, truly chooses you, they don't create doubt, they remove it. They don't make you decode mixed signals like you're reading tea leaves. They don't have you zooming in on messages like, what does this really mean? They make their intentions unmistakable. And I want to slow that down because a lot of people have gotten used to confusion and started calling it normal. Guilty as charged. I'm actually looking at myself and talking about myself when I made that statement just now. I want to start with the almost relationship because it starts simple. You're going on dates, not just coffee either. We're talking dinners, movies. Hey, let's try this new place I found. And the occasional stay over, but let's not define it situation. You're spending real time together, weekends, random Tuesdays. You've seen them dressed up and also in a hoodie, which, let's be honest, feels like 2 totally different people. Maybe you've even met their friends and they're looking at you like, oh, so that's who this is. But somehow, when people ask what you are, the answer is, we're just seeing where things go. And you're like, where are we going? Because I feel like I packed a bag and you're still checking the weather. Meanwhile, you've been seeing where things go for 6 months. 6 months or worse, maybe even a whole year. At this point, Amazon delivers faster clarity than this. And let's be real. When someone knows, they act like it. They don't need a committee meeting, a pros con list like Rory and Lorelai on the Gilmore Girls, or a 90-day free trial with optional renewal. And yes, this applies to everyone. But let's talk about something natural for just a second. Biology even shows us something simple. The sperm swims to the egg. It moves. It pursues. It initiates. And there is something powerful about clear direction and leadership. Not control, not pressure, but intention. The person who is serious about you will move with intention. They will lead with clarity and not leave you guessing. Because someone who chooses you doesn't keep you in a gray area. It's like purgatory, if you believe in that. That emotional limbo where you're kind of together, but still low key auditioning. Just comfortable enough to stay, but never secure enough to fully relax. Like you're in a relationship, but still checking your phone like customer support just put you on hold. They make room for you, not just in the fun parts, but in real life. You're not a maybe, you're part of the plan. They show up when they say they will. No, I'll let you know. No, this week's crazy. They just show up. They follow through, not eventually, not conveniently, but consistently. And that consistency, it doesn't leave you analyzing everything. It doesn't leave you asking your friends, does this seem off to you? Because the right energy doesn't confuse you. When someone is choosing you, your nervous system doesn't feel like it's in a marathon. You're not anxious. You're not overthinking. You're not reading into every emoji in a text message. You're at peace, and not boring peace, like safe peace. And here's where the shift begins to take place, because this isn't about one side. This goes both ways. And let's be clear, this isn't about men versus women. This is about effort versus confusion. When someone is interested, they show it, not in a they should just know kind of way. Because let's be honest, half the time, nobody knows what I'm fine actually means. They don't just reply, they engage. You can feel the difference. Replying is LOL or yeah. Engaging is more like, tell me more, or what happened after that. They remember things, they make time, not when they're bored, but on purpose. Because when someone values you, you don't feel like a placeholder between their other plans. And that's when we get into one of the biggest traps today, the social media trap. And let me just say something personal for a second before we dive into this segment. I love social media. I really do. I love the connections, the creativity, the way it lets you share moments and stay connected in a world that moves like really fast. But I've also been burned by it. I've been in situations where what was happening in real life didn't match what was happening online, where everything felt real in person, but invisible everywhere else. And that disconnect, it'll have you questioning things you normally wouldn't question. Because social media, for all the good it brings, it can also amplify confusion when clarity isn't already there. It doesn't create the problem, it just makes it harder to ignore. And that's the part people don't always talk about. And once you've experienced that, like I did, you start to see things differently. Because now dating doesn't just happen in real life, it happens online too. And suddenly the questions become, why haven't they posted me? Are we private or am I hidden? And sometimes it's not even that. Sometimes they have social media, but don't use it. No posts, no stories, just an account like a digital ghost town. But then that friend count keeps going up. And now your brain is like, wait a minute. So you're not posting, you're not sharing, but you're connecting, which leads to the real question: where is that energy going? Because there's a whole other side to social media, the messaging, the watching, the responding privately. And now it's not just, why aren't they posting me? It becomes, who are they interacting with where I can't see? And that's where your intuition kicks in. Because clarity isn't just about actions, it's about alignment. If someone is private across the board, okay, that's at least demonstrating consistency. But if they're selectively visible, that's where confusion starts. And confusion always means something. If they can show up everywhere else but stay invisible with you, that's not privacy, my friends. That's positioning. And what that actually communicates, even though it's not intentional, it can say, I'm not ready to claim this. I'm keeping my options open. I need to still be tethered to my backup options in case if this doesn't work out. And no matter how you try to explain it, it just doesn't feel good. And this is where people betray themselves. They start saying things like, maybe I'm asking for too much. Maybe I should just be more patient. Meanwhile, you're doing emotional gymnastics trying to turn confusion into comfort. But here's the truth: people adjust for what matters to them. It's called the effort shift. You've seen it. I don't text like that turns into all day conversations. I don't post relationships turns into full highlight reels. Suddenly they're writing captions like, found my peace for the third time in the same calendar year. And you're like, oh, so you had that in you this whole time, but just not for me. Because interest changes effort, not intention, effort. And your body, it knows before your mind accepts it. When something is off, you feel it. Like when they take hours to respond, but are clearly online. And let's be honest, texting someone you like isn't a chore. It's like ordering food and seeing it out for delivery. You're watching that map like, okay, you're like two streets away. Where are you at? So when the effort isn't there, you feel it. At first, it's small, easy to brush off, easy to explain away, but it keeps showing up in the delays, in the inconsistency, in the way something just feels off. And eventually, you stop asking, what are they doing? And you start feeling something deeper. The gut feeling. We've talked about it before, but sometimes repetition is the best teacher. You ever been in something that looked fine but didn't feel right? Nothing you could point to and say, this right here is exactly the problem. But also nothing that fully let you relax either. That's clarity. Trying to speak louder than your hope. Because hope is creative. Hope will take 3 good moments and turn them into a 5-year plan. Guilty again. Hope will say to you, but remember that one night that they were so sweet that one time? But they can be amazing. Hope will build a full relationship out of potential. Like, no, it's there. I can see it. We just got to give it some more time. Hope will have you holding on like your phone at 1%, no charger, screen is dimming, still talking about, no, it's fine. I got this. Hope will ignore patterns and focus on exceptions. It'll have you saying things like, they're just busy. They're just going through something right now. They just express themselves differently. Meanwhile, your piece is like, I'm going through something too. And then there's your gut. Your gut doesn't care about the highlight reel. Your gut doesn't care about potential. Your gut watches patterns. Your gut feels energy. Your gut notices what your mind is still trying to negotiate. So while hope is over here writing the best love story ever told, your gut is sitting in the back like, respectfully, this plot has a bunch of holes. Or even better, this episode is not matching last week's energy because your gut isn't dramatic. It's consistent. There's that word again. It doesn't yell, it doesn't beg, it just keeps showing up quietly, steadily, saying, this just doesn't feel right. And usually it says it way before you're even ready to listen. And even then, There's the opposite feeling, the right feeling, the part people don't talk about enough. Because when it's right, it's not confusing. They say they'll call and they call. No, my bad, or no disappearing act, just consistency. You make plans and they actually happen, not let's see or I'll let you know. They just show up for it. You express something and it's heard. It's not dismissed, not minimized. You don't feel too much. You feel understood. And suddenly you're not tired. You're not anxious. You're not overthinking every little thing. There's no guessing, no emotional roller coaster, just consistency, not perfection. We're all still human. They might forget small things. They might have off days every now and then, but there's no confusion about where you stand in their life. And that's alignment. And the difference between the two, you don't have to convince yourself of alignment. You feel it immediately. So let me ask you something hard, and I want you to really examine it for the whole week. Are you being chosen, or are you choosing them and calling it mutual? Because sometimes it only feels mutual because you're the one carrying it. If this were a tennis match, you've been hitting the ball over the net by yourself, and they're just standing there holding the racket, and you're tired. I'm tired. It's time to relax. Because when it's one-sided, you start shrinking yourself. You're adjusting. You're explaining things away. But that's not love. That's emotional cardio. I just want to leave you with this for the week. When somebody truly chooses you, they remove all doubt. And if they don't, they become the doubt. And that's not your fault, but it is your responsibility to recognize it. You deserve clarity. You deserve consistency. You deserve someone whose intentions don't need translation. No subtitles, no decoding those tea leaves. No, let me explain what they probably meant scenarios. Just truth, clear, consistent, and felt without effort. Because at the end of the day, it's not about choosing between hope and giving up on love. It's about choosing between hope that ignores reality and clarity that honors it. Because hope will try to keep you in something that almost works. But your gut is trying to lead you to something that actually does work. And the moment those two stop fighting, that's when things finally start to make sense. That's when you stop chasing potential and you start recognizing alignment. And that's where real connection begins. That's all I got for today. That is the tea for today. But listen to me. If this hit a nerve, good. That means something in you is waking up and going, wait a minute. We're not doing this anymore. And if you're sitting there like, wow, this sounds real familiar, just listen to me. Don't panic. Just start simple. Start paying attention because the goal isn't perfection. None of us are perfect. It's about awareness. It's catching yourself earlier before you're 6 months deep talking about, we're just seeing where this goes. And if you're like, okay, Colleen, but what if I'm already in it and have been for years? First of all, I've been there. I've done that. Second, take a breath. You're not stuck. You're still learning. You're never too old to learn new things. And if you need somewhere to vent, process, or just say, hey, is this normal or am I gaslighting myself again? I got your six. And just so we're clear, I don't have a PhD in relationships. I was a relationship manager for many years. I feel like I can read people pretty well. I don't have a degree hanging on my wall, no official certification in why did they do that, but I've been through enough life, enough situations, and enough what was that moments to know what confusion feels like. And more importantly, to recognize what clarity doesn't feel like. So when I share, I'm not sharing from theory. I'm sharing from experience, from lessons I had to learn, not only the hard way, but the long way. So hopefully you don't have to. Because if I can help even one person avoid the same cycles, the same overthinking, the same maybe it'll change situations, then yes, I'm going to keep spilling this tea. You can always reach out to me at ce.spillingtea@gmail.com. I may not have all of the answers, but I definitely have the tea. I'm a great listener. Until next time, please protect your peace, trust your gut, and yes, that same one that we talked about. Stop letting hope talk you into situations that your intuition already checked out of. And most importantly, choose the people who choose you back. Have a great night, my friends.